Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Player Zone YouTube channel. Welcome to the match recap for the round of 16 tie between England and Slovakia. And wasn't this dramatic? It was a game that needed something to spark it to life. And it took basically the last minute of the game and a Jude Bellingham spectacular, beautiful bicycle kick to bring it to life and bring England's tournament to life. They were minutes, milliseconds away from going home in Euro 2024. And Slovakia could almost touch it. They could dream of a quarter-final appearance versus Switzerland, but it was all taken away from them because of the quality of England shining through in the end. And that's why we went into the game a little bit. You can't really bet against England because they've got so many world-class players. And if it's Southgate's problem, if it's the players' problem, if it's the media's pressure, I don't know what it is. Eventually, this world-class talent, 9 or 10, top 30 Ballon d'Or type favourites in this side, eventually it will show. And it did show. It was Harry Kane, it was Ivan Toney coming off the bench to produce, and the most important, it was Jude Bellingham to save them regulation time. Let's get to the game quickly before I ramble on about too much I want to talk about later on. England, the first 10 minutes, much better. A bit more pace in their game. They looked forward, but looking very, very shaky defensively. Kyle Walker having a few mistakes. Mark Gahey not looking at his best. John Stones as well, not looking quite at it. Kieran Trippier was quite good going forward, but was leaving gaps behind him defensively. And just thought there would be an avenue for Slovakia on the counter-attack, or if there was a mistake to get in at England. And that would be a key trend that would continue on later in this game. It was Hanko who came close in the 5th minute as that pace in behind was shown. He's put his ball just past the far post of Jordan Pickford. And Slovakia would continue to come because England had a lot of the ball but didn't do much with it. And especially after the first 10 minutes, they had a lot of sideways movement, not enough forward movement, not enough pace in their game. And it was Haraslin who came very, very close in the 12th minute. Kyle Walker was caught flat-footed, high up the pitch. Haraslin in behind the back line, making a superb late run in behind the winger, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Mark Gahey, though, came across, made a fantastic sliding challenge, and Kieran Trippier got rid. But that was a massive moment in that game at the 12th minute there. A pivotal chance for Haraslin to give the side a 1-0 lead early in the game. Would it have helped potentially going and taking the lead early on? But another missed opportunity for Slovakia. Another sign of that backline not quite being at the races. Kyle Walker flat-footed, ball watching up the pitch. He obviously made a mistake to allow that first chance in the 5-minute for Hanko to get in behind. So Kyle Walker looked dodgy. Mark Gahey was looking dodgy as well. That would be a key trend that will continue on. It was a floated ball that was one in the air. Strelec took it down. We started running the England back line. And it was Ivan Schranz, who for me has been one of the more exciting players for Slovakia and been a fantastic contributor to this tournament, making the run. Little drop-off ball from Strelec to Ivan Schranz, clear through on goal. He knocked it past Jordan Pickford to give Slovakia a well-deserved 1-0 lead in the 25th minute. And you can see on the replay, Mark Gahey just caught, just jogging in the background, not wanting to chase back and cover off Ivan Schranz. John Stones didn't do enough to deny Strelec the ball. He was able to easily drive at him, an easy pass and an easy goal in the end. It was almost like training drill, that opening goal there. And the first sort of half an hour looked like a bit of a training drill for Slovakia. They were able to get in behind at will, put the England side under pressure when they needed to with a semi-press at times. And England did nothing to counteract it. They did nothing to go forward. Declan Rice was so negative in this game, sideways, backwards a lot of the time. Kieran Trippier didn't cover off defensively good enough. Yes, he was okay throwing numbers forward. Phil Foden continued to tuck inside. There was imbalance in the final third. Kobbie Mainoo and Jude Bellingham were the only real players trying things in the first half. And the lack of goal-mouth action from now on in meant we went into halftime with Slovakia leading 1-0. And there was a lot of problems on that pitch for England, a lot of problems that hadn't been solved. It's only so far in this tournament, what has been changed is that central midfield position alongside Declan Rice. We had Kieran Trippier staying in position. No one's changed his spot. It was Trent Alexander-Arnold in game 1. Kobbie Mainoo's coming here in the round of 16. Gallagher played in there in the third group stage game. But outside of that, Gareth Southgate has made no changes to this side. And maybe that falls onto him. But the players on the pitch, really poor. Really, really pathetic. No willingness to go forward. No willingness to run in behind. Bukayo Saka looked okay. But again, no willingness to try and charge at the back line, get in behind that back line. Harry Kane dropping into his own half, trying to play balls from his own half, which he misplaced passes. Mark Gahey slow. Got a yellow card early, which means he'll miss the next game. At the back, Kyle Walker, I said on the live show, I think I still agree with it, probably his worst performance I've ever seen him produce. I can't remember him being that bad in a long time. So there's a lot for England to improve on in the second half. They started similar to the first half, really quick in the first 5 to 10 minutes. And it was Phil Foden who found the back of the net in the 50th minute with Kieran Trippier squaring that ball. But Phil Foden was offside and ahead of the ball, so that goal was chalked out and just a symbol of what was going on for England at that point in time. They couldn't find any avenue to goal. They were struggling to find the back of the net. And yet again, another failure there in front of goal. And the day would get worse, or nearly got worse in many regards. Jude Bellingham taking a quick free kick on the halfway line, trying to roll the ball to John Stones, who wasn't paying attention and nicked up by the Slovakian player. And from his own half, nearly scored one of the most comical goals we would have seen at the Euros. Luckily for England, they saved their blushes. Jordan Pickford, who was off his line, was chasing back with that ball, just spun wide of the goal face, and England was spared their blushes. It was still 1-0, and the game would go deep. Harry Kane had a fantastic chance, a free head in the 78th minute, which he would head wide after superb Phil Foden whipped in ball, found his head. Then the biggest chance at that point in the 80th minute, as England continued to pile on the pressure, came from Declan Rice outside of the area, got the ball out of his feet, struck the ball well, curling away from goal, and ended up hitting the upright, coming back out to Harry Kane, and his acrobatic effort to try and put the ball back in the back of the net went high and over the crossbar. So still England couldn't find a way to goal. They still had a shot on target to that point in time. Their first shot on target, however, would be through Jude Bellingham in the 95th minute. A long throw for Kyle Walker was flicked on by Mark Gehi, and out of all the players to go and get in the end of it, it was Jude Bellingham producing a fantastic bicycle kick to get past Martin Dubravka in goal. The first shot on target for England would be their equaliser. Absolute limbs in the England end. I was caught totally off guard. I thought the game was going to just bore ourselves out and it'll trickle over the line for a famous Slovakian win and a really infamous England loss. But big players in big moments stand up, and Jude Bellingham yet again, we've seen it so many times this season for Real Madrid, doing it late in Clásicos, doing it late in Champions League games, and doing it here for England. And that's the difference, right? You have these world-class players that can turn up in big moments and change a game for you. And that's what Jude Bellingham did here for this England side. And it was a fantastic goal, probably one of the most famous England goals I've ever experienced, to give them a chance in the extra time period, which they'll start on fire with. In the first minute of extra time, it was Harry Kane who was able to put England in front. It was Eze's scuff shot. Ivan Toney got onto the ball and headed the ball back across goal. Harry Kane unmarked to the back post to head home in that 91st minute to give England the 2-1 lead and scored 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes. Same amount of goals they scored in all the group stages. They scored so rapidly in back-to-back succession, and maybe it's a chance for them to now use that confidence to push on to the next game, because they sat in deep extra time period, something I wasn't really for. I understand trying to reset players into position, but they went back to sort of a back 5 with 3 midfielders and 2 and a bit midfielders, and then I guess the 2 up top. Yes, it worked in the end to hold out the game, but they allowed the pressure to come back on them from Slovakia. Pekarik nearly scored an equaliser just before the end of the first half of extra time, but his ball that came off his knee in the end went high and over the crossbar, and that would be that. England would hold on for a 2-1 win. Far from convincing, far from the top performance, but in the end of the day, in tournament football, you have to get over the line. I think that's, I guess, the shining light and all of this, and I guess the positive you can take from England are finding ways to win games, and it's very ugly. It's not convincing, but they're getting the job done. And at the end of the day, in tournament football, you just need to get as far as possible. And if it means you save your good performance for a semi-final or a final, I think England fans would take that. It's been a very hard watch. Last night was an awful watch, especially for the first sort of 70, 80 minutes. England sort of came to the game at the end, and they had to throw numbers forward. Like I said, Ivan Toney, they were subbed on. Eberechi, Eze, Cole Palmer, they changed the game. And it's quite a coincidence that when Phil Foden was taken off, England instantly go and score. So I don't want to individualise it, but performances in this team have been really poor. I know you can blame Gareth Southgate, his tactics and his decisions, but the players on the pitch still have to perform. And I feel like Phil Foden's just not doing his job. Your job is a winger. I know you don't like it, but play as a winger. Don't come inside and clog spaces. Harry Kane, stop trying to play this false 9, helping a midfield. You're not that guy. Play as a centre forward. Look at Declan Rice. Play the ball forward for once. And then you got John Stones, be more proactive, lead the back line. This back line was supposed to be their strong suit. They were really, really subpar last night. Kyle Walker, if you're going to be the captain of England side when Harry Kane comes off, show it. Yes, Gareth Southgate, you can blame him all you want, but I think last night for me it showed that these players still aren't good enough either. Yeah, there's some world-class players in there. Kobe Mainoo, fantastic. Jude Bellingham, fantastic. Bukayo Saka, solid enough for me. Harry Kane is an elite level player, but some of the performances for some of the players, whether it be world-class or squad players or players around the elite level players, they just weren't good enough. And I think, yes, Gareth Southgate's tactics are poor. The substitutions were too late. Yes, they're playing this negative sort of 4-2-3-1. I know people want the 4-3-3. I know people want these different wingers and stuff. But the players on the pitch, why can't they just do the job? I just think it might be a different point of view, something that people might not enjoy. But I think the magnifying glass now equally has to go on the players as it is the manager as well, because these players are supposed to be world class. Show you're world class. Right now, you're not doing that, and I feel like a lot of pressure has to go forward into players as well. The media pressure's there, the fan pressure's there. I understand that it can be hard to deal with that, but big players turn up for big moments, and that's what Harry Kane, that's what Jude Bellingham did, and as such, you win that game of football through individual brilliance in the end, not a team performance. Spain are playing team football. Portugal are playing team football. Germany are playing team football. Right now, England, Belgium, France, all not playing team football, and as such, they're relying on individual moments, individual pieces of brilliance to get them over the line, and you can see that because all three teams for me are underperforming at this current point in time. Let's get into our three key players, starting with Kobbie Mainoo for me. Fantastic team from the start. 7.1 match rating, 77 touches, 96% pass accuracy. Made the one key pass, won 3 out of 5 ground duels, 1 interception and 1 tackle in there as well. Was really, really good for me. I think he stood out because no one else wanted to drive the ball forward. He was the one picking the ball up, dribbling into tight spaces, had a few shots that nearly found the back of net from long shot regions. Looked to progress the ball. That's why I think the 96% pass accuracy is a key stat, because he was the only one looking to pass forward. John Stones trying to as well. Declan Rice was just habitually sideways or backwards. Harry Kane was supplying nothing. There was not many options, but yet again, it was Kobbie Mainoo trying to find a way to get the ball forward. And it was, I think, really, really good from him. And I think he should start again. Will it happen? I don't know. He was one of the first to be pulled off by Gareth Southgate. So interesting if he goes in. I think he changes the game for this side. I think maybe Adam Wharton allows Declan Rice more freedom to go forward. But if Kobbie Mainoo goes again, Declan Rice got to help him out. Play him the ball, play quicker. If you both work in tandem driving the ball forward, it makes it much easier. So I think Kobbie Mainoo was fantastic. If he had a better partner alongside him, Declan Rice for me was really, really subpar. I'd almost give him a D-type performance if you had to grade it. I think Kobbie Mainoo was a B+. Not at his best, but in this system that they're operating with, the negativity and the lack of options available, I think he did a really fantastic job and got England moving forward in the first half where they lacked creativity. He was one of the few players creating for the side from that deep line position. Second player, Ivan Toney for me, fantastic off the bench. Gareth Southgate came on in the press conference, said he was not very happy with him subbing on with a minute to go. Hadn't appeared this tournament, but came on and made a difference. Gets the assist, 7.5 match rating, 22 touches, 1 key pass, won 4 to 5 aerial duels and 4 to 5 ground duels, and was fouled 3 times. For me, that was the biggest impact. He occupied the centre halves. He pressurised the Slovakian backline, but being a physical presence, being about, throwing his body about, something that Harry Kane has not done at all this tournament. And I think it's pretty simple. If I'm the manager, I know this is bold as all hell and no one ever agree with it, I chuck Ivan Toney up top, or Ollie Watkins up top. Harry Kane, for me, is not playing as a striker. If you're not going to play as a striker, don't play, because that is your job in this team. People saying he's unfit or he's not carrying a knock. Well, if you're carrying not unfit, why are you dropping into midfield? I think have to go with the strikers and just play as a striker. Ivan Toney comes on, they went a 2 at times. When Harry Kane was in a 2 with Ivan Toney, he looked better because he could drop in. He has an option now to go forward. If Harry Kane's playing alone up top, what's the point in playing him? Because he's not playing up top. Ivan Toney comes up top, occupies the centre half, pressurises the centre half, puts pressure on them, runs in behind, can link the game up, drops in short, runs in behind, spreads the defence. He does a job that the centre half actually have to think about man marking. When Harry Kane's on the pitch, they can really just wander about. They can play off the back with ease. They don't get pressed by Harry Kane enough, and it's too easy for them. Ivan Toney came on and changed that game for me, and I think all credit to him. Fantastic performance. Very close to winning my man of the match, but the man of the match had to go for me for Jude Bellingham. 7.8 match rating. That fantastic goal. Another great goal to add to the catalogue here at Euro 2024. Had the 55 touches, much better in the first half. 1 key pass, 3 out of 4 successful dribbles. Really good with the ball at his feet. 10 out of 16 ground duels, won 4 tackles, and was fouled also 3 times. In the first half, him and Kobbie Mainoo looked the best in the park, and only ones who wanted to win the game by a long way. Second half, fell out of the game for key moments because England was so pessimistic and pragmatic. But then when they started to go for the game, you saw him getting the ball more often. You saw the danger he poses, and there's not many players in the world that can produce a goal like that. It's just what Jude Bellingham can produce. And that's why he's in Ballon d'Or contention, because he saves his club side, he's saved his national side here with moments like that, with moments out of nothing. There's no one who can produce a bicycle kick like that on that pitch other than for Jude Bellingham. That's just the difference. It's simply put that. I could ramble about his ability on the ball and in tight spaces and his progressive nature, but simply put, if Jude Bellingham isn't on that pitch, England are going home. It's his world-class nature, it's his expertise, it's his superstar status that gets him that goal. A beautiful bicycle kick. people don't even think of producing something like that in that moment, but he goes and does it and wins the game in the end for England because he gets some extra time. They get the confidence, they score a second goal, and they grind out the result. He is so pivotal to this side. When England play forward-rolling football, when they want to go after the game, Jude Bellingham gets more touches. If Jude Bellingham gets more touches, you score more goals because he is the best player on the park and arguing the world right now. He is 1A or 1B for the Ballon d'Or with Vinicius right now. So play to his strength. Play to some of your better players' strength, like Saka, like Foden, by playing on the front foot. Even Kobe Mainoo. Play to his strength by playing forward, looking forward, getting him driving, getting him looking up, head up and driving and passing into open spaces in front of him, rather than going sideways and backwards and slow. England are too slow for me. It's simply put, if they want to go deep in this tournament, play with more pace, get the ball into the more creative players like Bellingham and Saka, and you'll win games of football. And I think you have to change the striker. It sounds ridiculous, but Harry Kane, I know he's your captain, I know he's one of your best strikers ever. Not good enough for me. Not good enough for what this team needs. Not good enough for this tournament. I'm playing Ollie Watkins. I'm playing a very similar side. I'm dropping Phil Foden as well. I'm playing either a Paul Palmer or an Anthony Gordon on the flank, and you'll win games of football. Two players are letting you down right now. Simply put, two players. It is Phil Foden and it's Harry Kane. They might be your two best players you think on paper. They're not good enough on the pitch. That's my thought. That's how I'm going to leave it there. That is my breakdown for Slovakia and England. By the way, fair play to Slovakia. Fantastic performance. Say from minute 1 to minute 94. Put up a fantastic performance. Scored that goal. Looked dangerous in the first half an hour. Deserved their goal. Defended so well. And they didn't make all those changes to set up so defensively and change their structure around. They could have gone and equalised in extra time, I'm sure of it, or even won in extra time. I think very, very unlucky. All props to Calzona and his men. They fought very, very hard. They made it very, very difficult for England. England struggled to play through the lines. They pressed when they needed to. They sat in when they needed to. Controlled the game to a T until that one moment. And you can't stop world-class talent like that from Jude Bellingham. You can't really prepare for that or stop that. It's just one of the kind type stuff. So fair play to you. You've left the tournament with your heads held high because you produced one of the great performances here in a round of 16 performance. With that being said, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more content like this, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload more videos and podcasts here on the channel. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy that coming football for the round of 16, and I'll see you guys on a video or podcast very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.